Спасибо, Сергей Александрович, за теплые слова. Let me shift to English. So, as representative of Azerbaijan, it's my pleasure to deliver my speech entitled Environmentally Adjusted Economic Policy. Next slide, please. Next. As Paul Hawken indicates, we are stealing the future, representing it in the present and calling it gross domestic product, GDP. The International Monetary Fund tries to tally up the fuel subsidies over the world and found that they add up to an eye-popping $1.9 trillion a year. It is about 3% of global GDP. In other words, 8% of total government revenue. Removing fuel subsidies could lead to a 13% reduction in carbon dioxide emissions and positive spillover as a reduction global energy demand. On a pre-taxes basis, subsidies for oil products, electricity, coal, and other fuel types reach about 0.5 billion US dollars in 2011. International Monetary Fund considers that the other $1.4 trillion as an effect of energy consumption on public health, on traffic congestion, road damage, and of course, global warming. How much damage could a ton of carbon make for our nature? There are a lot of estimations, and the majority of estimations based on social cost of carbon. And for example, US Interagency Working Group on Social Cost of Carbon estimated that $25 per ton. Please, to this end, just imagine the scale of damage to our environment as well. Subsidies aggravates fiscal imbalance, crowd out priority of public investment and private investment, including in energy sector. And underpriced energy distorts rational allocation of resources by encouraging excessive energy usage and accelerating the depletion of our natural resources as well. In oil-rich countries, fuel subsidies are seen as a mechanism to distribute or redistribute benefit from our natural endowments for the sake of our nations. And it is, for example, in my country, experts usually like to say, to compare the price of a bottle of water and a barrel of oil. Having been an oil-rich country, it is very difficult to rationalize the price of oil products, electricity, etc. In this context, Azerbaijan succeeded in eye-popping results because Azerbaijan scaled up middle class while increasing the price for electricity, natural gas, and other oil products. For example, in 2007, our Tariff Council increased above-mentioned products price by 2 or 3 times, while we decreased the poverty rate from 44.7% in 2003 to just 6% in 2012. In other words, we decreased the poverty rate about 8 times during the last 10 years. Azerbaijani energy subsidy reform had following features. First of all, it was environmentally adjusted because of more rational consumption of energy, which had become expensive and measurable because of adjusting meterings in our households and business. The second one, it accelerated pro-poor growth, which implies the changing the distribution of relative income through growth process to the favor of our poor population. And the third one is very important. We had a vicious circle inherited from Soviet time, which covering, first of all, payment arrears, netting operations, offsets, and cash payments. Azerbaijan succeeded to solve low energy price and the toleration of payment arrears as well. Next slide, please. In this slide, I try to explain my idea through the experiment, very famous experiment with fleas. Training fleas requires a glass jar with a lid. And the fleas are placed inside jar, and then lid is sealed. They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. And their behavior was set for the rest of their lives. And even the fleas, when reproduce, their offsprings will automatically, repeat their actions. And this is, mental barrier. This is not physical barrier. And that's why today we have to shift our approach, attitudes towards energy consumption, taking into account the experiment with fleas, because it comes from our nature. We go beyond our today's presentations, today's approach on energy consumption. Let me explain further. Point is that excessive energy consumption is not only way to make people happy, because the happiest people over the world are not in Singapore or Japan, the richest countries by the most measures, but in Guatemala, in Latin America, one of the poorest countries over the world. Why? Because it one more time proves that importance of energy consumption rationalization. Let me just give figure. The electricity consumption in Guatemala was about 500 kilowatt hour per person, while the same indicator in Singapore about 8,000 kilowatt hour per citizen or per capita. In other words, about 15 times more than that in Singapore. But the results, show the other meaning. Next slide, please. So I would like to offer change in our manner in terms of economic growth. We have to change our manner. We have to change from conventional growth style to green growth style, because conventional growth style remembers sand glass. The higher growth means the higher depletion of our natural resources. But using opportunity that one of our participants, very distinguished person, Nobel Prize winner, I would like to offer the other one, which based on Higgs field. As you know, Higgs won the Nobel Prize because of Higgs field, Higgs boson. Higgs boson just converts energy to mass without any additional depletion of any resources. And this is, the nature of our humankind. And we should take a lesson from our nature, and we should convert from conventional growth to green growth, which in this case, of course, we will keep our natural resources as well. And point is that we provide only 88 billion US dollars for as subsidization of green growth, while, as I mentioned, we have fuel subsidies $1.9 trillion, and in this way we just subsidize carbon dioxide emission in our conventional growth. And in this slide I compared carbon dioxide per capita versus GDP per capita, and in this case, as you see, Azerbaijan is in the middle level. Next slide, please. There's a great national potential for the development of green economy in Azerbaijan. The demand for environmentally friendly green technology is likely to further grow in coming years with Azerbaijan's flourishing economy and rising living standards. And thus, Azerbaijan has designed a new regulatory framework for the green development. For example, in the first stage, we completely shifted from the mazout to natural gas in our power stations, decreasing the emissions of carbon dioxide and increasing the efficiency from the point of view economic and financial viability. In 2004, we accepted new state program on usage of alternative source. Now we are shifting from natural gas to other sources, alternative sources, which we can see the renewable. And this program aims to discover and use alternative source of energy in order to create more opportunity to save fuel that we use in our thermal power stations, and of course decrease the harmful waste spread to our environment. In accordance with the Millennium Development Goal, Azerbaijan has optimized its energy consumption and carbon dioxide emissions required per unit of GDP. Azerbaijan has committed to numerous activities that combat climate change and develop green economy in the world. Therefore, Azerbaijan is an oil-rich country. It can serve as a regional model for green development. And to this end, I would like to emphasize Azerbaijan Global Green Corridor Initiative. This initiative encompasses the following directions. First of all, transformation of Azerbaijan into a regional green hub grounded on knowledge-based economy and green technology. Then, creation green quadrangle covering state, science, business, and NGOs. Then creation of, as you mentioned, Sergei Alexandrovich, Green Foundation for the support of SME in the field of green economy. And up until today, Azerbaijan has used its natural resources for the sake of whole region. Now we are ready to stimulate the business of the future, green technology as well. And Azerbaijan, the heart of Eurasian geography, combines the biodiversity of two continents and combines the biodiversity of Caspian Sea and Caucasus. And as Azerbaijan is situated in the middle part of Alp-Himalayan mountain belt, it can serve as an important element of global, especially Eurasian biodiversity. And one of the main goals of Azerbaijan 2020, the vision of the future concept paper, is to keep sustainable economic development. Azerbaijan is continuing its initiatives, and in 2011, Mrs. Leyla Aliyeva launched an international campaign called on International Dialogue for Environmental Action. And in other words, IDEA. IDEA is about working with young people to put environmental awareness and action on the heart of family, community, and national life. In other words, IDEA tries to attract that attitudes of young people for the protecting of our fragile planet. And at the end, I would like to say that according to statistics, during the first half of this century, temperature will rise and precipitation will move up too, and that's why Azerbaijan will have some problems with water resources, and that's why Azerbaijan improve melioration and irrigation systems and decrease the loss in the field of water management, and we try to shift our grape and wheat plants towards mountains, and we try in the future to plant plants which like heat and drought. Thank you for patience.